In this chapter, we will talk about events. Event section allows the administrator to automate actions. Let's see some diagrams to understand the different type of events available depending on the input. These can be knob, GPI, load preset, calendar, or external mute. After the diagrams, you will see how to configure them specifically in the software. There are events where you assign a frontal knob of your VIDA device to a volume of a source, output, local group, or general volume. As factory default, you have these events active so anyone can control the corresponding amplified output of the device from the frontal knobs. There are events where you assign a GPI to a volume of a source, output, local group, or general volume. This GPI should be configured as analog in the settings menu. Events where you can use a GPI configured as digital in the settings menu to control, for example, a mute of a signal or all of them at the same time with the panic option. To load a preset. To load and play a specific playlist in the player. To play or pause the player. To control a GPO that is configured to be controlled by events. Or to force the status of the device to run or sleep. The external mute input can control a selection of the powered, auxiliary, and digital outputs or all of them. A health warning or error, see Health chapter in Settings section, can control a GPO. An input of an event, configured as load preset, will load and play a specific playlist when one preset is loaded. Remember that presets do not store information of the player. After loading a preset, you can also force the unit to run or sleep mode. You can also schedule events choosing the calendar options. The actions that can be done are the same that in a digital GPI event. There is a lot of flexibility on scheduling events that you will see later on in the web application. Let's see which events are already in the device by default. As you can see, there are 5 events already enabled. 4 of them correspond to the frontal knobs. Each knob controls the volume of the corresponding powered output, but it can be changed to any of the previously mentioned signals, as you can see. Or you can disable the frontal knob, deactivating or deleting each event. The 5th event by default is the external mute, that is configured to mute the powered outputs when the contact is closed. Let's see an example of a new GPI event. You can add a new event clicking on the plus event button. The first thing you have to do is to give a name to this event. Then you select GPI as event input. As this GPI is configured as analog, will control a volume, and you will have to choose which signal is going to be controlled. Remember to turn the switch on to activate the event. In this example, 2 different inputs are making the same action on the same parameter. How this will behave? There will be a battle? No, not exactly. The last event that took control on that parameter will prevail. So, if knob 1 is at the maximum and you force the parameter to 50% with GPI 1, the value of this parameter will be 50%. When you change the value of the knob from 100 to 99, the value of that parameter will jump from 50 to 99. So bear in mind this behavior and avoid it if you don't like it, deactivating redundant controls. Let's go a little bit back. We have seen that events with analog GPI as input can control volume. And events with a digital GPI as input can do other things, as we have seen before in the diagrams. Basically, on and off controls or instant actions. An event with a digital input can also control GPOs that are configured to be controlled by events. In this case, only GPO 1 can be selected. So the question is, where can you configure the GPIs and the GPOs? Get into the Settings menu and choose the Knobs GPIOs tab. You can select GPI between analog or digital, and the GPO as preset or event controlled. What about scheduling events? If we select calendar as an input, we define the date and hour of start, and we can decide the frequency that you want this event to be repeated. As you can see, it can be repeated daily, weekly, monthly, or annually. But you can also choose Custom. Custom opens up another window depending on what type of frequency you need. This adds a lot of flexibility. On this example, we have chosen to activate this event on Monday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Beside the frequency, you can decide the daily repetition. You can determine how many times will repeat that event the days that is active. Following the example, the event will be active on Mondays starting at 11, and it will be repeated 4 times with 1 minute delay. That is 5 times at 11, 11:01, 11:02, 03, and 04. That will happen on Thursdays and Saturdays as well. Below these windows, you can find calendar monitoring that will help you to understand better what is the status and how it has been scheduled.